Hello everyone and welcome once again to GSTEF TV, the home of the deepest Nollywood revelations, the platform where nothing stays hidden for too long, and where we serve you just exactly the way it happened, without filters, without hesitation, without leaving out the parts that make your heart beat faster. Before we dive into today's explosive story, please hit that subscribe button right now because the gist I am about to share is not the kind that should meet you unprepared. You need to hold your phone very well, sit comfortably, and prepare your mind because this is one of those rare stories that left even insiders speechless. What happened between Maurice Sam and Sonia Uche on that set is something no one saw coming, something even the director could not have predicted, and something that has now become one of the most whispered, most replayed, and most shocking behind-the-scenes moments in recent Nollywood history. The day began like any other filming day. The sun was calm, the weather was gentle, and the crew had settled into their usual rhythm of setting up cameras, adjusting lights, rehearsing lines, and preparing props. The location was a beautiful private estate on the outskirts of Asaba, a serene compound surrounded by tall trees and a quiet breeze that made the environment perfect for emotional storytelling. Everyone on set believed it would be a smooth day. The energy was relaxed, the schedules were on track, and the scene they were shooting was supposed to be simple. No stunts, no complicated blocking, no heavy physical movement. Just a moment of emotional tension between two characters that required standing in close proximity, sharing a deep stare, exchanging lines, and then one character, Sonia's character, was supposed to walk away gracefully. That was all. Nothing more. But life has a way of surprising even the most experienced filmmakers. And this particular day was one of those days when something far from the script, far from the director's vision, and far from the expectations of the cast and crew happened so naturally, so boldly, so unexpectedly that the entire environment froze in silence. Maurice arrived on set looking calm but focused, the way he always did when preparing for a dramatic scene. One thing about him is that he takes emotional roles seriously. He does not play with scenes that require deep vulnerability. He gives his heart, his breath, his presence. And that day, he looked like he was mentally sinking into his character with full concentration. Meanwhile, Sonia walked onto the set with her usual soft composure, greeting the crew members politely, smiling at the makeup artist, adjusting her costume, and preparing herself mentally for the performance. People who saw them that morning said there was nothing unusual in their behavior. They were both their normal professional selves, exchanging a few words here and there, standing together while reading their lines, and maintaining the warm respect they always had for each other. In fact, a few crew members even commented that their chemistry seemed particularly strong that morning, though no one thought much of it at the time. The director called for a quick rehearsal. Maurice delivered his lines with a steady, intense tone. Sonia responded with her signature emotional softness. The energy between them was already captivating, even before the camera started rolling. The director nodded approvingly, believing the day would proceed smoothly. But as soon as the actual take began, something shifted in the atmosphere. It was subtle at first, the way Maurice stepped a little closer than expected, the way Sonia's breathing changed slightly, the way their eyes locked as though something unscripted was silently passing between them. The moment felt heavier than it should have. The lines they exchanged sounded too real, too raw, too charged. Even the camera operator later confessed that he felt something unusual but didn't know what it was. According to the script, after Maurice delivered his intense line, Sonia was supposed to reply softly and then walk away. But the way they were staring at each other made the air around them change. It became thicker, warmer, almost electric. People watching said they felt something shift, something emotional, something human, something personal. And then it happened. Just as Sonia finished her line, Maurice leaned in. It was not planned. It was not discussed. It was not rehearsed. He leaned in slowly but deliberately, as though something inside him had taken over, something stronger than the script, stronger than logic, stronger than the boundaries of professionalism. Sonia did not step back. She did not flinch. She did not widen her eyes in shock. Instead, she stayed perfectly still, her lips parting slightly in confusion, surprise, or something deeper no one could interpret. Before anyone on set could process what they were witnessing, Maurice's lips touched hers. It was not a brush. It was not a clumsy accident. It was a real kiss, soft at first, then lingering, lasting long enough for people around them to freeze in place with disbelief. The makeup artist gasped loudly. The boom operator held his mic in midair, scared to move. The director, watching the monitor, dropped his headphones in shock. The assistant director stiffened. Even the background extras, who had no lines in the scene, stood rooted to the spot, eyes wide, mouth slightly open. By the time Maurice and Sonia pulled apart, the silence was so heavy it felt like the air itself had stopped. Sonia blinked quickly, her lips still parted slightly, her expression stunned, confused, overwhelmed. Maurice looked like someone who had just awakened from a trance, suddenly aware of what had happened, suddenly realizing he had crossed a line he couldn't step back from. His chest rose and fell rapidly. His eyes were wide, searching Sonia's face for something, maybe regret, maybe understanding, maybe forgiveness. The director finally shouted cut, but even his voice cracked with confusion. He didn't know whether to be angry, impressed, or deeply concerned. He stepped onto the set slowly, as if approaching a fragile situation that could shatter at the slightest wrong move. Sonia walked away quietly. She did not shout. She did not confront Maurice. She simply walked back to her room, her steps steady but her face unreadable. Maurice remained standing there, speechless. A few crew members approached him hesitantly, unsure whether to console him or question him. He kept repeating under his breath that he didn't plan it, that it just happened, that he got carried away. But he looked shaken, not by guilt but by the weight of the moment. A close source later said Sonia sat in her room silently for a long time, touching her lips repeatedly as if trying to understand what she had just experienced. The source said Sonia was not angry, she was overwhelmed. She reportedly whispered that the kiss felt too natural, too unforced, too real for her to dismiss as acting. Meanwhile, fans online who heard the whispers later began debating fiercely. Some insisted the kiss confirmed emotional chemistry that had been building for months. Others argued Maurice was unprofessional and crossed boundaries. Many fans, however, said they believed something had been happening between them secretly and that the kiss was simply the moment the truth slipped out unconsciously. When they returned to set the next day, the tension was strange. Not awkward. Not cold. Just quiet. Controlled. Intense. They behaved normally, but their eyes told a story only they understood. Some people said they had a private conversation later that night, a calm, honest discussion, and whatever they talked about settled the energy between them. Until today, no one knows exactly what that kiss meant. Was it a mistake? Was it instinct? Was it buried feelings finally breaking through? Or was it simply a moment that happened once and will never be repeated? Whatever the truth is, one thing is clear, that kiss was too real to be called acting, too unexpected to be strategy, and too intimate to be forgotten.